Hello there, and you're very welcome to the Arkham Avengers Fantasy Football Premier League podcast. You join me, the host, along with Eamon and Hector, and take a look to see how the managers are getting on in this league. Their bid to be crowned the champion for 2021-22. Okie dokie, gentlemen, another episode. Yes, another episode, another game week. Interesting to find out how our managers get on. I think it's the weeks seem to be going very fast. I think I look in, I see it's already end of September almost. That's right, though. The weeks are going pretty fast. And I mean, game week 6 is over. We're 6 weeks in, and we have another week on the way. Another game week. More football. Listeners, you're very welcome. Welcome to another episode of the show. Hope that you're having a good day wherever you are in the world. Now, I suppose first things we'll have a look at is, lads, last week, both of you decided to give a couple of predictions for matches. So I wonder how you got on. This is going to be really good. Okay, yeah, go on. You might as well get on with this. Well, Eamon, now, I think we'll start with yourself. If we remind the listeners, you decided that Chelsea were going to win. Hector, you might do the sound effects, will you? Okay, what you want? Okay. Uh-oh. Eamon, you then went for Man United. Uh-oh. You went for Everton. Ding. You went for Leeds. Uh-oh. You went for Liverpool. Oh, that's a draw. You went for Arsenal. Ding. And finally, Brighton. Oh, that's a draw. Oh, seriously? What is this? I just sat here and I listened to Hector trying to do special effects. And then, no, I didn't think he did too bad. I wonder if our listeners will send any emails to say how Hector's getting on. Always feel free, listeners, to email Arkham Avengers FFPL@gmail.com. I kind of stuck for words, I am. Well, Eamon, I tell you something. You might as well be stuck for words because your predictions weren't great. 2 out of 7. Okay. Well, I mean, it was a strange week. There was strange football. There were strange results. Sometimes you just don't get it right. I'd like to hear what Hector has to say. Well, Eamon, will you do this special effect? I'm not doing no special effects for this. Okay. Hector, you decided that Chelsea and Man City was going to be a high-scoring draw. Yes, that's correct, yeah. Well, as you'd go yourself, it was you didn't get that right. You didn't decide to go for Aston Villa. We'll give you a ding for that. West Ham, ding for that. Burnley, as Eamon, you sure you wouldn't do? No, I'm certainly not doing nothing. I'm not getting involved in any of that sort of carry on. Alright, Burnley was a draw. Newcastle, another draw. Liverpool, another draw. Arsenal and Spurs, well, I think you were looking for a draw on that one there, but ended up Arsenal winning 3-1, and Crystal Palace was a draw. Now, you selected 8 teams, you got 2. Well, that's how it goes. You know, sometimes you make the prediction, sometimes it doesn't work. Look, could we move on, please? Right, okay, so we'll have a look and see how the managers fared out. Okie dokie, we're starting here with the highest points, 117. The average points, 43. First place, Joe Bogger 6. Now, they got 36 points. Eamon, what do you think is going on with this manager and this team? Well, they had one transfer. They brought in Livramento and they put out Ayling. And he got 2 points for Livramento, and Ayling didn't play. So the transfer, in some respect, did work. They opted to go for Ronaldo as the captain, and that got 4 points. Now, I think you've asked me about the team and about the manager. This is a poor week for this manager. He's a poor bench as well, and a poor defence. And if you look at it, they've got 12 points out of the midfield. In my view, when I look at this team, to me it's a team that's lost its shape. It also looks like there's a manager under pressure here. Why do you say he's under pressure, Eamon? Well, I think, yeah, he is under pressure. I mean, let's face it, the substitute bench is really poor. Apart from the goalkeeper, sub-goalkeeper Foster getting 3 points, none of the rest of them got anything there. Now, this is a guy who is humble, is the salt of the earth. That's not going to win him this league. And there's a pattern building here, week in, week out, that he's starting to drop points. He had a great run. He was flying. He was leading the way. He was starting to establish a pretty good lead, and now it's pretty eaten into. And I have concerns. And I think game week 7 for this manager, this is a defining moment for him. This is a moment for them to step up and be a manager, or else suffer the consequences. Deep stuff there, Eamon, deep stuff. Well, it is deep stuff, and sometimes managers have to hear the deep stuff. I don't know what's happened to this guy. Last year he got a little bit distracted, and if I weren't, mistaken, I think he's distracted again here. And if he's distracted again, that's a problem. This manager needs to be concentrating and focused on managing his team and getting the maximum points. Would you agree with that, Hector?
I would agree with that. I think Eamon is very right. I think this manager has coming to a crossroads or a fork in the road. One way is going to lead him to glory and the other is going to lead to not getting much. I think when you look at the team, now when the points come in, it is not very good. I think Eamon right. Defining time now here from our manager coming upon us now.
Okay. In second place is Raglan Road. Another week that they've rose up there. They got 53 points. Hector, I might go with you first on this.
And this manager, he have won the transfer as well and brought in St. Maximin of Newcastle. They got the 8 points. He put out Rickarlson. He no play. To me, that is a good transfer. They had Salah as the captain and got 14 points. They also have points on the bench. For me, that's a big yes. He got the 6 points from 3 midfielders. Now, I'd be a little bit worried about that. However, also, I think, the defense look a little bit weak. Don't look all that good. And, I think that, this is, am I correct with this? This is the third week that they are rising. This is good for this manager. You also have the guy Saka, 13 points. Good play.
Okay. Eamon, anything to say? Well, I would agree with Hector. I think the defense is a little bit weak. I think Diaz got 5 points. I think Kofel he got 2 points, and Manquillo he got the 1 point. That is, for me, a little problem. And I'd be thinking, look at that. You also had the guy Tony on the bench who got 5 points. Probably would have been better to have him on instead of Ronaldo. I'm starting to think this is a new manager, and they've really got into a good stride this season in the league, and it's as though this is the contender, the new contender, the rival Toboggers, and last year's winner, who is now this year's Can We Win Again? Okay. Arkham Avengers is in third place at the moment, and they have dropped a place. 36 points. I might as well go to you first, Eamon. We'll get this out of the way. Didn't have any transfer. Now, they did have Salah, who got 14 points as their captain. That's the saving grace of this team, if you ask me. Torres had another blank. Sass was left on the bench, and he actually got 7 points. And I think that 6 points from 3 forwards is a pretty poor return. And if I'm not correct, it's 5 points from the defence. There isn't really much I can say. This is the spoofer, and let's face it, this team, this manager, starting to drop away. I did say last week this manager would not be in second place. I'm surprised that they have managed to keep in third place, but they have. I will have to take that. But if I were this manager, I'd be checking to see if I've got a parachute. Hector, anything to add?
Well, yeah, Lukaku and Ronaldo had no good week. Christian, another point. Even forget they had Allen in there. Everton, 6 points. I thought that is very good.
The other thing, though, of course, here is that, again, the manager, he had points on the bench. And that, to me, is still a good thing to have. It's positive. Yeah, look, Hector, that might be positive in your book. But, I mean, points on the bench is all fair enough. But when those points don't come off the bench, they're not much use you. They're gathering dust.
Well, sometimes the player will come on.
Yeah, well, in some cases, they don't come on.
Well, that is correct, yeah. But look, to me, this player, this manager, these players, they need a little shake-up, little move about. I think perhaps maybe a couple of transfers. They have played their wild card, so can't do nothing about that. And perhaps maybe tweak one or two players.
Would you get rid of Torres now at the moment?
At this moment, he's not being very effective. That is his second blank game week. The Pep rotation, next week he might play. Who knows? I think at this time, this manager probably have a big decision to make over Torres. And see, do he want him in there or not?
Fourth place then has Blightsome squad, and they got 50 points. Hector, a good week for this team?
Yeah, not too bad. No transfers, but they had Salah as the captain again, 14 points. Good to have Salah as the captain, especially in this game week.
They had Cancelo on the bench, 12 points. Probably manager not very happy about that. Pogba and Lukaku, they only got 2 points each.
a little bit expensive. They'd be expensive ornaments to have there. I also think, they had Tony on the bench, 5 points. Probably not the bad week. A good week for them, though. They're above the average. Good week. Yeah, they are above average. And look, I think that the Blightson played a wild card in order to stop a rut that got into place, to help them to stabilise and then to consolidate where they were. And since they played the wild card, there's been a marked improvement with this team. They are on the way up and they look good. They're getting points, and this is a team that they just need to tweak to get their best team, and I think they will be pushing for first place. Now, fifth place has Legion 11 and they get 49 points. Hector, I'll go back to you. Are you happy if you were the manager of this team, would you be happy? I would be happy, yes, I would be happy. Why would you be happy? Well, for a start, they had a very good transfer move. They had St. Maximin brought in 8 points, and they put the Bamford out. He no play. That to me was a good, shrewd transfer. They had the Salah as the captain. Antonio was up front. He got them 8 points. Now, they had the other boys. Torres was there. He blanked. Then the one thing I would have a concern about is 3 of the midfielders, 6 points. A little bit weak there. Would need to really do a little bit of shoring up on that there. But something, I think the manager, we spoke about this last week, that they needed to learn about their transfers. And I think they have taken leaf out of other players and managers' books and are getting going with that there. Eamon? Yeah, I'd have to agree with Hector. Certainly it was a shrewd transfer move. I think it's got them moving. They look good. Yes, I think certainly, I think they would say they learned a good lesson and they put it to good use. Okay. Sixth place has Ain't Got a Clue. They got 48 points. Eamon, how is this team doing in your view? Again, we've had another week where no transfers. They had Van Dijk as their captain. They've constantly gone with this guy. Now, it pulled up an ace previously. They got nothing much this week, 2 points. So he's been found out with having Van Dijk as the captain there, especially when he had Salah and Saka on the team. I'm not going to waste my time talking about the bench there, other than Pookie got 2 points for them there. Maguire is sitting down there with 7 points, which, look, the best defender of the whole lot that he had there. And Maupay got 9 points. Maguire, Salah, Saka, Maupay, they're the only players that are actually performing and playing on this. This manager is coasting a little bit. And they need to have a sit down and need to look at their team and rejig their team. And they need to be concentrated and they need to make a concerted effort. And I think it's time for a couple of transfers. Hector, would you agree with Eamon on that there? Or what would you think? I think Eamon is right. There's a couple of weak players in here. If transfer would not go amiss, to me, I think that is the manager to some degree is on autopilot, not really paying attention that he need to do this. And I think this would be the problem that they have to do. And if they don't do this, then they're going to have to do something else somewhere down the line in order to rectify the issue. That's a bit of a run, so it is. Take a breath. That's perfectly fine, Eamon. Nothing wrong with my breathing. I have good lungs. Okay, well, sure. What would you suggest, so, Hector? I think they need to change their captain. Van Dijk, that little bit chasey. I think, especially when you have the Salah and Saka there. Salah to me is dependable. He's reliable, and that is who you want in there. Okay, but you'd agree that with Eamon that this manager needs to make a few changes. I would agree, yes. I would agree very much so. I think they do it. But however, saying that, they have moved up a place, so they're doing well. Very well. Okay, we move on to 7th place, and this is Can We Win Again with 37 points. Now they've dropped down. Who'd like to talk about this manager and this team? Okay, I suppose I'll start while I have to. Yeah, you want to start, there's no problem. This manager had one transfer. Decided to bring Odegaard in from Arsenal and put out Dele from Spurs. Dele got 1 point, Odegaard got 1 point. So in my view, this was a transfer that didn't have any impact whatsoever. Ronaldo was selected to be the captain and he got a whopping 4 points. And when I look at this team, apart from Diaz, who got 5 points, Jota got 7, Tony got 8. The rest of this team, as John Giles would say, are made up with sunshine boys. Sorry, Eamon, what's this? Are made up with sunshine boys. These are guys who will decide when all is going well, they're smiling, they'll have a few tricks with the ball, they look good. But when it comes down to grafting and drilling it down
and slugging it out to get points. They're nowhere to be seen. And this is what this team comes across as to me. It's all style and no substance. Greenwood is 2 points. Benrahma is 3 points. Van Dijk is 1 point. Lloris is 2 points. Ronaldo is 4 points, and he's the captain. Lukaku, 2 points. MacArthur got 1 point, and he's sitting on the bench. With Young, who doesn't get anything. I'm not even going to talk about the rest of the bench. It's just drivel. This is the sort of stuff that, for an experienced manager, I mean, I'm really shocked at this, and I have to say that, I'm disappointed. I've always held this manager in high regard, and I thought last week we saw a turn, and they were going to rebuild, and suddenly we've dropped down to this. This is just it's hard to take. So it is, Hector.
Well, I don't know what to say. Eamon very passionate there. Look, I think that, this is still a team that are looking good. Last weekend, the game week, there was a lot of funny results. I still think Lukaku is good to have. Ronaldo, he has Antonio, 8 points. The forwards are good. There will be a better week to come. I also think, that the defence is not too bad. Another week Van Dijk would have good. So I would not be writing off this team. Yeah, it is probably not where he want to be. He not be happy in 7th place. However, there are a lot of teams in here this season, they're pushing.
Okay, well, we'll move on to 8th place. And this is Bamford Rejects. And they got 37 points. Hector, was it a good week for this manager?
With 37 points? No. Not a good week at all. A shocking week, I thought. No transfer again. This guy, you talk about other guys having Ronaldo as the captain. This guy had Fernandes. He had no point at all.
Yeah, a bit of a disappointment there, wasn't it? That's just shocking. But then again, this is the donkey. Expect this from the donkey. Anyway, carry on there, Hector.
Antonio and Rafinha, they got the 8 points. Tony got 5. Son, he got the 7. I think that has saved this manager. However, I think this manager needs to do something. And they need to do something with the team. They need to do, wildcard. I don't know what, but they have to do something. Okay, man, I take it you're nodding your head there. You're agreeing with this.
I am, yeah. This is a manager. They have been riding their luck for a little while. But look, they've come up short this week, and it's telling. And for me, this is wakey time for the Bamford Rejects. It's time to stop sleeping on the job and time to start acting as a manager.
Right, 9th place has Maximum Effort, and they got 40 points.
Eamon, you might have a look at this team and tell us what you thought. Well, they had no transfer. Now, they did select Antonio as their captain. They got 16 points. That was a good choice. St. Maximin got them 8 points, and Diaz got 5 points. And that's where the good news ends. Out of the 11 players, we only have 3 that's functioning. Now, he did have Cancelo on the bench. Well, he had Cancelo on the bench. But what good is Cancelo on the bench with 12 points? Actually, he had Douglas Luiz on there as well, if I'm correct.
Yeah, he did.
7 points. There's 19 points. He only got 40 points altogether. So those 2 players almost had half the points he got. This manager is asleep at the wheel. They're not doing what they need to do. They show great spurts. They show great ingenuity. They look like that they're going to make a real effort and a real dent. And suddenly, it's like the air is taken out of them, and then they just flop down. I'm perplexed, but I tell you what, they need to change a few things around. Hector, you're nodding in agreement there with Eamon. You second what Eamon is saying?
Yeah, I think, for a start, they're going to have to do something with the defense. They also had, their formation to me, does not look great. And they had, 4-3-3. But yet the 3 in the midfield, they only got the 5 points. And that, to me, your midfield, you need to be getting the points. And I think they also need to have a look maybe at the way they're lining up their subs bench. But yeah, I'd agree, Eamon. They have to do things.
Okay. So in 10th place, a Maximum Effort, of course, let's say, and Bamford, they didn't move. They have stayed in, retrospectively, 8th and 9th place. And number 10 is What a Beauty. They didn't move either. They got 34 points. Oh, Hector, what about this manager and this team? They had the one transfer. They brought Antonio in. He, of course, got the 8 points, and they put Ings out. And that was 2 points. So that was a good move. Now, unfortunately, they too went for Fernandes. Got 0 points with their captain. They had Salah, who got the 7. Mings was there to get 7 as well. And, as I said, apart from Antonio brought in, that was about it. There's nothing on the bench. I'd be very worried there's nothing on this bench here.
Very, very poor. Not impressed. I would not be impressed with this.
Eamon, well, look, this is, maximum effort is the Tweedledee, and here is his brother Tweedledum. Again, another manager who at times shows potential and then just doesn't do anything. And I think this manager, it's time to ring in the changes here. They need to do something about this. This certain stuff. It can't go on. It's not good enough. They can do better than this. They should be doing better than this. And if they have a problem with it, they can always email me, and I will talk to them about this.
Okay. Now, I suppose we're going to 11th spot then. And this is the Mighty Defenders. Didn't move either. And they got 32 points. So, Hector, I'm coming to you in a moment. Eamon, I'll just go to you first on this. Now, this is one of the new managers this season. How are they faring on?
Well, they had 3 transfers and they lost 8 points. It's a little bit early in the season for losing 8 points, I think. Some managers have lost 4 already. They brought Alan in and put Rafina out. Alan got 6 points and Rafina got 8. They brought in Ronaldo, who got 2 points, put Calvert-Lewin out, and he didn't even play. And then they brought in Dennis, and he got 1 point, and they put Carlson out, and he didn't play. It isn't, look, apart from, the Alan job, it wasn't really a great transfer bit of business. And furthermore, they left Alan on the bench after all of this, and he got 6 points. They went for Ronaldo as their captain, got 4 points. And, when you look at the bench, Cancelo is there. I leave Lloris out to one side, the goalkeeper. But Cancelo is there with 12 points. Alan is there with 6 points. Tarjeta is there with 6 points. That's 24 points on the bench. And they only got 32 points. So 3 players is nearly wiping out most of this team. And I think this pretty much says it all about this manager. They're out of their depth at the moment. They need to concentrate and just pause and stop a moment. And maybe they just keep into the mic there. Yeah, sorry. And maybe they just need to, as I said, stop for a moment, reflect, and then say, what is my best team?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think Eamon is right. This manager can do something. It is not a bad team, but he's not a good team for last week. And, their transfers, losing 8 points like that, not helping them. Okay. Now, 12th place is Rosie Rovers. And Rosie Rovers got 23 points. Eamon, I'll start with you on this one.
Another team with no transfers and decides to go with the Donkey Fernandez as their captain. Got 0 points. I'm sure they're very happy with that. I've been jumping up and down for joy. Edison got 6 points, the goalkeeper, and Cash got 5. And that's pretty much it. There's nothing else in this team. I think this manager needs to, a bit like some of the other managers here that we've spoken about, they need to stop and sit and think and do something. This business of week in, week out having no transfers, I can understand it for 1 week or 2 weeks. You could understand it if the team were doing great, but they're not doing great. And this is exasperating, so it is. You have to do something. Hector, talk here. Back me up on this.
Well, I think you're right.
I know I'm right. I am right. I've been right all along here, so I have been. These managers are sitting here, and it's though they're having a cup of tea and some sort of a cucumber sandwich, and not concentrating on what they need to do.
All right, Eamon. Okay, but perhaps maybe this is another one of the new managers. Maybe they're finding their feet.
But they might be finding their feet. But this is 6 weeks in now to find your feet. What do you want, another 6?
Well, sometimes, Eamon, I would say this, that some managers will take to this quicker. Like Raglan Road has taken to this quick. Legion 11 is picking it up quick. Now, when you come to, Bamford Rejects and the Mighty Defenders and the Rosie Rovers, they're a little bit behind they're very much slightly behind the curve. In fact, they're behind down their valley is where they are. While the rest of them are above halfway up the mountain, these lads are still rooting around, putting on socks and walking shoes. This manager needs to stop and needs to buck up. They need to buck up and they need to concentrate. Really concentrate. Because they're going no place. They're not even making a dent in where they are. And in fact, this manager, if they don't do anything this weekend, they won't be in 12th place. Hector, I'd say, have you anything to add to that? Oh, no, I have nothing else to add to that. Oh, no. I just say, hey, to that manager, we'll listen to 1 or 2 of Hector's words and then go about doing things. Watch the mic there, don't be battering it. Sorry, I sometimes I have to wave my hands around and yeah, but that's okay. Eamon won't keep into the mic and you're trying to hit the mic. Now, okay, 13th spot. Lafayette Lions, 48 points. Eamon, I'll give you a breather for a moment. Hector, this one's over to you. Lafayette Lions, yeah. You know, they had 2 transfers. I lost 4 points. They brought in Kovacic, he got 2 points. And they put out Rafina, who got the 8 points. And then they brought in the Antonio, who got the 8 points, and Bamford Cohino get no points, Cohino play. You know, the question I want to ask here is, this manager, they lose the 4 points. They done 2 transfers. Did they have to get rid of Rafinha? That's the question I ask there. Now, for the rest of the team, they had Salah as the captain. Again, a wise move. This was the week to have Salah as the captain. Gray got the 6 points. Jota got the 7 points. Now, the defense is weak. Duffy got 2, White got 2, Alexander-Arnold, Gahi got the 1. But however, you know, there are points on the bench. And as I said before, that is important. It's good to have that. Now, you know, they didn't come off the bench, but they're there. Eamon, you've recovered now, are you okay? Yes, I'm perfectly fine. Sorry, sometimes I get a little bit passionate about this. But I only get passionate because I think some managers can do better. This is a new manager, and they're doing really well. You know, they've got themselves off the bottom of the table. They've moved up now. They didn't move this weekend, but they got 48 points, and that's respectable. Now, there's a few turkeys on this team, and I think, you know, they might want to have a look and maybe tweak. I think there's 2 or 3 players that might need to move out of that team. Who would you be looking at moving out there? Kovacic, I think that was a wasted move in there. Antonio was a good move in there. I'd question Uruard is sitting on the bench, and I don't think he's really much good. Livermenko and they're worthy to have on the bench there. So I think it's Kovacic and Uruard. 2 of those guys need to go. Finally, we come to El Loco John. 32 points. Eamon finished off with Lafayette Lions. You might start with El Loco John. No transfers again. Surprise, surprise. They had Lukaku as their captain and got 4 points. Diaz got 5 points and Rafinha got 8 points, and this did help them. Now, we look at this team. Diaz got 5 points. There was 3 other defenders playing. Kofel got 2, Tierney got 2, and White got 2. 1 player got 5, 3 players get 6. And if we look at the midfield, I was just said Rafinha got 8. So we had 4 other midfielders who managed 8 points. Now, is somebody going to tell me what's wrong with that picture? Well, I suppose, Eamon. I mean, Hector has already said it was a strange week. It might have been a strange week, but I mean, hold on a second. 1 defender is getting almost as many points as 3 other guys, and 1 midfielder is actually getting more than 4 of them. Now, there's something not right with that team. Okay. And the bench is, again, about as useful as a chocolate teapot. Huh? Yes, right. A chocolate teapot, Hector. Useless. You pour the hot water in, what'll happen to it? Why would you put hot water into tea? Who make a teapot out of chocolate? Hector, it's a saying that we have here. Well, it might be a saying you have, Eamon, but I mean, can I just put it out here to you? That, like, he's got De Bruyne, Madison, Højbjerg. Lukaku, of course, was captain and didn't have a great week, but Ronaldo didn't either. Tierney is there in white. Yes, he's got 2 Arsenal defenders in there. Does he need them? He does if they're doing well, but they're not doing well. And this is the problem. To me, this is another manager a new manager, like they were in 13th place and they have dropped down and don't seem to be making any headway or any ground. Again, you know, it comes across to me, this manager is not even trying to manage. He's put his team together and says, look, we'll see how to get on. That's it. Hector, what do you think? I think, you know, that maybe the manager needs to do a couple of things. I think probably there are probably 3 to 4 players. Take them out, replace them, and then it's a good team. But the problem is that every week you have a bad week, you're falling further behind. I don't think it's all finished for this manager, because when you look at the other points, he got the 32 points. Rosie Rover got 33. My Heat Defenders, 32. Waha Beauty, 34. Maximum Effort, okay, got the 40. Bamford got 37. Can we win again? 37. So from 7th position down to 14. Apart from Lafayette Lions, who got the 48 points, the rest of them are all in, and Maximum Effort, okay, they get the 40. But the rest of them are all in around the ballpark, so he's not losing that much ground on them, but he's not gaining ground at it. Alright, okay. Okay, well, sure, that's a roundup and a look at the managers and their teams. Have we anything else here to add? Well, the only thing I would add, and I don't even know if you could add it, it's like an appeal. Could these managers please make a few positive changes, do something positive? Like even if you were to transfer somebody in and get a couple of points, but make an effort on this to transfer.
like as bad as Lafayette Lions was losing 4 points, they did a transfer. They done 2 transfers. One didn't pay off. One did. They're trying. And that's what I like about that manager. They're trying. And that's all I can ever ask. Okie dokie. Well, I think we'll leave it at that now. We'll wrap up. Hector, have you anything else to add there?
I have nothing else to add. I'm nearly afraid to say anything from case Eamon, he started to say something about me and chocolate teapots.
Listen, no, Hector, you're okay. You speak away, Hector.
Okay, well, I want to give a big shout out to all our...
Come on, please. I thought you were going to talk about the managers and football.
Hector, just go ahead with that. We'll be all right. Eamon, just have a glass of water there, Eamon. Okay?
Yeah, no, I'm fine, thank you.
Well, I just wanted to say I give a big shout out to all our listeners in the world and hope that they have enjoyed the show.
Okay, well, indeed. Gentlemen, thank you for today's show. It's certainly been animated. Well, look, I'm sorry, but I like football. I breathe football. I sleep football. And I think some people can do better. And I just try to move them on there a little bit. Okay, well, listen, thank you very much. You'll be back again for the next show when we have a review again. Yes, I'll be back, and hopefully it'll be a little bit more positive. But yeah, I will be back. And Hector, you'll be back as well.
Yes, I will be back. I should be back, yes.
Okay, well, listen, gentlemen, again, as always, thank you for your time and your comments, analysis, and views. It's always so enjoyable to hear you, the passion, the knowledge. And listeners, thank you again for joining us. I hope you've enjoyed the show. And please subscribe, tell your friends about us. And if anybody would like to get in touch with any of us here on the panel, do drop us an email at Arkham Avengers ffpl@gmail.com. And we will be back next week with another episode. Until then, mind yourselves and take care.